Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The whole House will be disgusted by the latest revelations about Jeffrey Epstein. All of us want to see his victims get justice. But the political decision to appoint Epstein's close associate, Peter Mandelson, as Britain's ambassador to Washington goes to the very heart of this Prime Minister's judgment. When he made that appointment, was he aware that Mandelson had continued his friendship even after Epstein's conviction for child prostitution?
Simple question. Mr. Speaker, let me start where I must with the victims of Epstein, and all of our thoughts are with them. Can I also say our thoughts are with all those who lost jobs, savings and livelihoods in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament and my party. Mr. Speaker, he lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein before and during his tenure as ambassador. I regret appointing him. If I knew then what I know now, he would never have been anywhere near government. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Cabinet Secretary, with my support, took the decision to refer material to the police. And there is now a criminal investigation. I've instructed my team to draft legislation to strip Mandelson of his title and wider legislation to remove disgraced peers. And this morning, I've agreed with His Majesty the King that Mandelson should be removed from the list of Privy Councillors on grounds that he's brought the reputation of the Privy Council into disrepute.
Of Jeffrey Epstein and their families. Hearing more and more stories of how rich, powerful men were currying favour with a paedophile sex trafficker, such as Peter Mandelson, sending government secrets to help Epstein enrich himself further. Seeing Mandelson made ambassador to the United States, even after his links to Epstein had been extensively reported by both the Financial Times and Channel 4 News. So can the Prime Minister tell us, given he now admits he knew about those links, before he gave such an important job to one of Epstein's closest friends, did he think at all about Epstein's victims?
Mr. Speaker, we looked at the material. There was a process. There was then, as he will understand, there was then a security vetting exercise as well. And that's why I started by saying all of our thoughts are with the victims of Epstein. He is right at the beginning of his question to express anger at the material that has recently come out in relation to sensitive information in the aftermath of the 2008 crash. And that is why yesterday, working with the Cabinet Secretary, we referred material to the police, which has now led to the criminal investigation that is going to follow.
Mr. Speaker, I think the victims of Jeffrey Epstein deserved far better than that. They deserve Peter Mandelson not being appointed in the first place. We don't even know the full extent of the British establishment's involvement in his appalling crimes, or how many British girls and young women were trafficked by him. So we need a full public inquiry, both to get justice for the victims and to protect our national security. Mr. Speaker, the Polish government think Epstein may have been spying for Vladimir Putin. Is the Prime Minister concerned that Peter Mandelson may have been leaking state secrets, not just to a paedophile American financier, but also a Russian agent?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks of a public inquiry. Obviously, the focus now has to be on the criminal investigation which has started. As he knows, that investigation will go wherever the evidence leads it. And I've made it absolutely clear that the government will cooperate, as he would expect, with that criminal investigation wherever it goes.
The victims and survivors of Epstein and his circle of overprivileged elite are at the forefront of my mind here and now. Mandelson, we now know, described Epstein's release from prison after being sentenced for child sex offences as Liberation Day. This man's association with Epstein was known when the Prime Minister personally appointed him as the UK's ambassador to the USA. Yep. How can we trust the Prime Minister's judgement? And in questioning that, how can we trust him to remain as Prime Minister?
Can I join her in the disgust in the comments that she just read out? But to be absolutely clear, the scale and the extent of the relationship between Mandelson and Epstein was not disclosed. On the contrary, it wasn't just not disclosed. Mandelson lied throughout the process and beyond the process. He lied, and he lied again to my team.
Given the conversations which are taking place in this place today and up and down the country about Peter Mandelson and his involvement with the paedophile who trafficked women, and the millions of women, particularly in this country, who will have been triggered by that, given the establishment's proximity to what happened, will the Prime Minister assure that there will be support set up, helplines, and that as well as the victims, the direct victims, those indirect women who've been triggered now will be supported?
Well, she's right to raise this, and obviously we'll support the police on the one hand with their investigation, but also we will press on with our work to halve violence against women and girls, which is very much about putting the support in place that is needed for all victims of violence. That is a crucial part of our work, and I hope we can work across the House in support of it.
Ellen Hayes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm proud that Labour MPs voted yesterday to remove the two-child limit and lift 400,000 children out of poverty. But child poverty cannot be eradicated while children are living in overcrowded temporary accommodation without their own bed or anywhere to do their homework. So will the Prime Minister commit to urgent and persistent action to drive down the use of temporary accommodation, ensuring that our councils, including my councils of Lambeth and Southwark, have the funding they need in the final local government finance settlement next week?
Well, can I join her in the pride in voting to remove 500,000 children from poverty and lift them out of poverty after hundreds of thousands were plunged into poverty by the party opposite when they were in government. On the point she raised about temporary accommodation, she's right that every child deserves a safe, warm and secure home. We're investing a record £3.5 billion in homelessness services and £950 million in local authority housing fund to deliver better quality temporary accommodation.
Mr Speaker, how we answer SEND families' call for justice will measure who we are. Christopher Lascaris was autistic and murdered aged 24. His mother, Fiona, who is here, spent 8 years begging authorities to protect him, but they refused because they presumed he had mental capacity. So will the Prime Minister support Christopher's law, creating a duty to assess mental capacity where it is in doubt, to save the lives of others?
Can I thank him for his question and for his tireless campaigning?
Point of order, Sir Davies.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Today's debate will focus on Mandelson and his relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. However, it will not cover his relationship with another alleged paedophile, murderer, gangster, specialist in bribery and corruption, and Putin favourite, Oleg Deripaska. A relationship that may be just as bad as that with Epstein. As European Trade Commissioner, Mandelson made decisions favouring Deripaska's company by $200 million a year. Mandelson avoided proper investigation by lying about the timing of his relationship with Deripaska. Mr Speaker, how can we find out what investigations were carried out before Gordon Brown and his government appointed Mandelson as a minister? Do you agree this House needs to see this information? If so, how can we obtain it?
What I would say is, look, this is a very experienced member, and I know he will pursue this through the many avenues, and I know there is a debate later in which he may wish to catch the chair's eye in order to raise these issues. These are very serious issues that he's raised. and this will be taken seriously, and I'm sure that the front bench has heard it as well. I will leave it at that.
Mr. Speaker, please.
Point of order.
Thank you ever so much, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister said that in each humble address that his party laid in opposition, they mentioned national security. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has left. However, I have checked the two most recent humble addresses laid by the Labour Party when they're in opposition, and all members on those benches should be very aware the words national security do not feature even once, because it is not necessary in a humble address. So, Mr. Speaker, how do we get the Prime Minister to correct the record when he's just chosen to leave the room?
Don't be ridiculous. Can I just say to you, you put it on the record. I don't want to continue the debate, but you put it on the record, so it's there.